nearly 700 years. But here's something that most people don't know. During most of that time, the Pueblo people built all their houses, their towns, their pueblos, all up on the mesa tops. That's right. Right next to their fields. And only the last 5 and 6 generations of Pueblo families put some of their homes down here in the cliffs and ledges below before everyone leaves Mesa Verde altogether. Now keep in mind, there's still plenty of people living in these older towns on top, but from our perspective, it looks as if more and more people are beginning to move into the cliffs. And that brings up a lot of questions here in Mesa Verde National Park. So, here are my questions for you. Please tell me, what is the difference between living up there and living down here? What do you think?
More protected.
Yeah. Doesn't spring sound like a wonderful time in Mesa Verde National Park? Green, butterflies, singing birds. Now I'm going to warn you, because this is actually on the Colorado Plateau. Imagine billions and billions of grains of sand. That's why we have such white smiles here in the Four Corners. But down here, we're out of most of the wind, we're out of the rain, we're out of the snow. Please remember that your house is held together with bricks, wood, but what's holding it in one spot? What's holding it together? Mud, plain and simple mud. Now maintain that up there in the elements, and these dry alcoves will start to look really inviting to you. We definitely have shelter from all the elements down here. Now add to this, what's another difference besides shelter?
Security and water.
Protection from
Each other?
You know, if an animal walks into your town,
Yeah.
we have it all in the collections, by the way. So, protection from what?
Enemies, competition.
Now, for nearly 100 years, the stories of Mesa Verde National Park have focused on the idea that cliff dwellings are really castles or forts. They're built for protection, safety, defense. This intuitively sounds good, and I promise you'll still see it on lots of books out there. But know this, of the hundreds of cliff dwellings in this park, you can only defend about 3 dozen. Most, like Spruce Tree House and Cliff Palace and stuff, you can waltz right into them from below. So try this analogy. Who here locked their door at home before going on this trip? Lock your door? Would you tell me otherwise? If you're not home, what's the lock all about? What are you trying to protect? Your stuff. Thank you, George Carlin. I'm going to get all my stuff down into the cliff dwellings. I'll get all my food down into the cliff dwellings. And no matter which way you look at that, that's a lot of work to try to get it all back out. So you go right ahead and you think security when you look at these sites, but not necessarily for yourself, but everything you need to survive with and make life comfortable. Security, shelter. Add to this, what's another difference besides those two? What else? What do you think?
It'll be a lot colder because there's no sun here now.
Maybe. How about I invite you on this tour in July and August? Yeah, you know, they're all waiting for me up there in the blazing hot sun. No hats,
Air conditioning.
no water, and they all look like this. We get down into the shade of the various cliff dwellings, and everyone just goes, nice and cool down here on a hot summer's day. Now look at the black. The Pueblos build public fires in between the buildings, and they warm the buildings on the rocks. We control the temperature down here much better than anyone living up on top. So, temperature, security, shelter. Would you add anything else to this list? It's a big one.
Water. Yeah.
Water. All the Mesa Verde's water is down here. Now, the sandstone you see throughout the park here is a natural aquifer. It absorbs melting snow, rain, water filters down through the sandstone layers, but it will not go past the layer of shale under your feet. And that forces all this water out into the head of these canyons as seep springs. There's a spring behind the towers. There's another spring right around the corner of that rock. Now, is it a coincidence that the cliff dwellings are built on top of and next to all these springs? Or could I say she or he who controls access to the water supply controls the future? Sound familiar? We think this is a biggie in Mesa Verde National Park. So, water, temperature, security, shelter. Did you want to add something to the list? What? Okay. Attack. Now we have to be careful, everyone, because it's so easy to step into the classic Mesa Verde trap. Did you know that everyone focuses on the positive reasons to live in the cliff dwellings? But you know that only the last 5 and 6 generations were willing to do that because of the terrible problems of having to live down here. So let's turn this right around. You live down here. What are the drawbacks?
No fields to grow your crops in.
That's a technological issue, isn't it? Yeah, where's all your crops, everybody? Yeah, and how are we going to get there?
You have to walk up there. Ladders.
Now, you came down nice steps, ladders, you have a ranger. Pueblos didn't have that. They actually cut these tiny holes into the sandstone, just big enough with their fingers and their toes, and they are scaling these cliffs every single day. So I want you to join me for a Pueblo morning.